everyone, my name is Hussein, Program Head of Block 71 Indonesia. Welcome to i360 Edutech on the topic of financing education, the challenges and opportunities for fintech startups in education. So today with me, I have Pak Tommy from Pintec. Maybe Pak Tommy, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hey, Hussein. Thanks for having me. My name is Tommy Yuwono. I'm a co-founder and also president director of Pintec. We are a peer-to-peer lending company, a financial technology company, already licensed and in OJK. We are focusing in giving financial access for education sector, meaning we're giving a flexible and affordable loans for students, parents, and also education institutions for Indonesian market.
Nice. So maybe before I start going into financing education, I just want to speak a little bit about Pintec, right? The fintech industry in Indonesia is actually quite large. You have you go all the way from wallets to payment gateways, peer-to-peer lending and invoice financing. But why is it that Pintec chose to start with financing education loans?
Okay, Hussein, I think that's a great question. First of all, is we know that we pick the lending sector in terms of the fintech. There is two reasons for us. The first reason is the market reason, and the second one is of course what we see from based on our personal reasons. I'll start from the market reason itself. When you see the financial market in Indonesia, there's kind of like a gap of financial availability for the UKM sector, for the SME, micro SME sectors, and it's already kind of like many people already talking about it, even though like the micro SME is the biggest market in Indonesia, but the financial access for the segment is too low right now.
Yeah.
But when we see about it, we also looking on the education market. What we see is on the education market is worse even. When you see in example, we take an example of the books of the big bank in Indonesia. The disbursement to the education sector is only 0.3%.
Wow!
So it's very small. And if you see education sector itself is one of the fastest growing sector in the world actually, right? Indonesia is leading with almost 10% growth per year from our data, and yeah, I mean it's no. I'm not surprised about it, right? Because if you see like 70% of our population right now is on the productive years, we have like we have many young person in Indonesia, right? And all of them need educations. So that's why like education market is really still growing, and the need of the financing and if you compare with the financing access is super low. So that's kind of like the market reason about it. And if you also compare with others developed market, education's loan is really massive outside that. Even I know like kind of like there's an issue about the education loans in the US, an example, but I mean that's how they approach it, right? But still the need is there, right? And the second reason is on the personal side, right? The first of all, I'm starting my business on the payment side. Actually, we kind of like starting to digitalize the education institutions. We want to helping them to digitalize the school and to helping them to receiving the cash with our systems. But when we are speaking with the school itself, they see they told us that one of the need is actually also on the financing side.
Right.
They need the financing, the parents need the financing, the student need the financing, right? So we see it really makes sense. And I also compare with my personal experience when I was want to go to college. I have the financial difficulty to go to the college, and I don't find any financial institution who give kind of like the product in Indonesia to giving an education loan for students, right? or even to the parents itself. It's really related with my personal experience. So I think there is so many people out there with same experience with me. Also, is already confirmed by the disbursement from the financial institutions to the education sector. It's already confirmed by how we do the discussions with the parents, with the students, or with the education institutions. So that's why we choose education's loans as a sector, as a segment that we want to serve.
Right, right. So I mean, even is it difficult to even get like government grants to finance your education? Or I'm not sure about the landscape in Indonesia, but in Singapore, I think we are fortunate enough to have
Mhm.
quite a bit of support from the government. But in Indonesia, is that the case, or is that only available to say, the top 3 to 5% of students in Indonesia? And those may not even need, right, the
I
government
mean,
support.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, of course, there's government support, right? I'm not saying that there's no
Mm.
government support, but we are 270
Yeah.
million people in our country, right? I mean, yeah, it's not possible like for governments to funding in everyone, right?
Mm.
There's also, of course, there's kind of like aid scholarships here and there, but it's not for everyone. It's not scalability. It's not scalable, but like
Mm.
everyone need it basically.
Okay, okay. So I think in the last 5 years, especially in the last two, right, with COVID happening and all that, how do are you able to
Mm.
share like how the fintech and the edutech, or basically, how the education funding ecosystem has changed?
Mm. Okay, I think I'll start with the education sector
Mm.
itself, right? I mean, the financial market, maybe you already read like many reports about the evolving needs and evolving how the players play it
Yeah,
in terms of these pandemic situations. Specifically in pandemic situations, education is one of the sector that I say that is got hit by the pandemic, right? If you see like all the restaurants, even all the bars are
yeah,
already open, but school is still closed,
yeah,
right? They're still like planning to open it. They open it in like really in this in a area that already like really outside of the populate or out of the like crowded area, like in a village and so on. They start opening it, right? Because there's no case basically
yeah.
at there. But we know it's kind of like our kids, our child, they cannot like following the protocol, right? So it's hard, right, for us to make sure that the safety of our kids and our child, right?
Mm.
So education market is get hit really hard, and they need to transform quickly, right? And all the transformations need capital
Yeah.
basically, right? Because they need to purchase laptop, an example. They need to purchase camera. They need to purchase bigger internet. They need to purchase the systems. They need to purchase the software for allowing them to do the online learning, to digitalize the schools. Suddenly the need of digitalization of school is increasing,
Mm.
like spiking high. So that's about it. The education sector is actually got hit very hard, and the parents also get hit, right?
Yeah.
Because maybe their income is getting reduced because they lose their
Uh,
job, or they get the pay cut, and of course they're asking for discounts, right? Because
mm.
the kids is like before, my kid is take those facilities, but right now I only using my laptop for getting the learnings.
Yeah.
So basically, some of them like put their kids on hold for the education, or some parents also are at least asking discounts, right? So we know that education sector is hit quite significantly, and there's kind of like transformation of the digitalization, but the impact is two sides, right? The impact is like the transformation is faster. The
Mm.
digitalization is getting faster, right? That's actually a good side. But the worst side is actually also like the cash flow problems of the education institutions,
Mm-hmm.
and also the cash flow problem of the parents itself, right? Like in example, our parents also asking for like 0% installments directly from the schools, right?
Yeah.
And the school is not the collector, right? The school they have to collect as well.
Yeah.
So that's about it. I mean, for the education market, there's kind of like switch in terms of how they process, how they operate, and also is this kind of like burden and also switch in terms of how they manage their business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the same happened in the US, right? I think once when COVID hit, there was a huge uproar, I think, when especially with regards to the MBA schools, Ivy League schools, right? When students started going back home and they're just taking
Yeah.
their degrees from home, nobody's going to pay $100,000 for MBA
Mm,
anymore. So yeah, and I think that
exactly.
gave the rise to guys like Run Guru. I think these are the ones that have been, like you said, have been at the
Mm,
forefront of the digital transformation in the last few years. But one thing that was really interesting that you actually brought up
mm,
was, and I want to find out a little bit more, like, what were the key issues, right, for the education system in Indonesia, in keeping up with this changing trend? Like,
mm.
what are the challenges that you face when you were starting fintech? How did you overcome the difficulties in developing the financial ecosystem, the part of the education system, I would say.
Okay. So yeah, in the first place, we starting at 2018.
Yeah,
That's
before COVID.
BC, before Corona. Okay. So yeah, before COVID. So yeah, we started at 2018. We focus mainly on the higher education in the first place, non-formals and also the K-12, right? And we focus more on the B2C products, meaning we giving an installments loan
Mm.
for the students and parents when they need to pay up anything upfront. We helping them to give an affordable and flexible installments products so they can start paying it with installments as simple as that. We're starting with that. We see the needs because, in example, if you are in your college, you need to pay your tuition fee upfront, right, every
Mm.
6 months. But you cannot with us you can pay it in installments, and it's going to be like helping you and of course helping the cash flow of the
Yeah,
parent itself, right? But one of the problems that we were facing back then is the I think the popularity of the education's loan product itself, right? In Indonesia, there is it's not really common, right? If you're talking about in the US market, it's really common for education loans, but in Indonesia,
mm.
is not common, right? When we are promoting that, people even misassumes us as a education insurance. It's more
Oh,
popular in Indonesia for education insurance.
okay.
Yeah. And then yeah, I mean we kind of like do like socialization with the market. How we doing that is basically we are partnering with the education institutions. Right now we're already partnering with more than 180 education institutions and all over Indonesia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's based on the entity, but if you are containing the branch, it's already more than 300 basically the education's branch that we already partnering with. And it's really helpful because the education institution itself like giving the informations giving the plans informations to the parents, right? And then they also have a kind of like the trust issue, of course, because the bad publicity of the online lending,
Yeah,
I would say. It's kind of like really helpful when it's coming from the school itself because it is legit, it's a real that we are already partnering with the education institutions.
I see. It's quite interesting though. You mentioned that you needed to educate your customers who are in the education industry, right? That you are not
Mm,
what do you call that?
mm,
You're not a education insurance. So how did you overcome those barriers? I think when you started in 2018, it it's still
mm,
pretty new for you guys, right? The
mm,
concept of
mm,
financing
mm,
the education
mm.
loans. So how do you overcome those?
Yeah, I think it's basically it's taking time. We do the socialization.
Mm,
That's why we have support from our investor to like do the market socializations. We have our internal team on the grounds that coming to the schools, coming to the associations, coming to the meetings. So basically, we penetrate the education ecosystems.
yeah,
We need to talk with the education's institutions, not only the education institutions, but also like all the stakeholders behind it, like the associations, the governments, and so on.
okay, okay. Okay, so maybe I'll just come to the last question for today. Do you see any larger
Mm.
opportunities for both the edutech and the fintech space in Indonesia? And any advice for any upcoming startups in this space as well? Maybe not necessarily your competitors, but yeah, any aspiring entrepreneurs.
Mm. No, I mean, I just mentioned. I mean, this COVID situation is hit tremendously for education sectors, right? But the bright side is the adoption of the technology is getting really quick by, like, I would say, in Indonesia, right? Right now, maybe you will see like more laptops like 10x compared to like a year or 2 years ago in
That's
all
true.
education sectors. No, I mean for sure. Yeah, that kind of like giving an opportunity for educations players who want to like helping with the system. I know over there is many educations solutions which is really innovative. I would say, like in example for the system, for the online learning, for the maybe even do with the augmented reality for the how they process the learning process. This kind of like condition is a huge opportunity like for all those kind of like players. And of course, to do those kind of adoptions, they need basically funding, right?
Yep.
They need capital. Basically, the education institution itself or the consumer itself, like the parents or the students. I think that's the beauty part of it, right? I mean, we are in the intersections between the education and also the financing. That's why we see that, and we always do a ecosystem play, meaning that we want to know exactly what kind of like the needs of education institutions, what kind of like the process of the education process itself. Then we can give a best products that fit basically the cash flow of the institution and also the product cycle itself. Yeah, I mean, to giving you the straightforward answer is we see it when the school will starting more and more adopt new technology for the education process, they will need funding and capital, and that's where we coming with our lending product.
Okay. Wow, I think that's really good. That's really good for the whole ecosystem, right? Like you said, I fully agree. It's not just in edutech and fintech that we see massive adoptions of technology. Even in e-commerce, in logistics, so many things are improving. What my friend used to say, what COVID took away, COVID also gives, although in a different form. So hopefully that works out for you and the future of Pintec. Yeah, thank you so much once again for the lovely conversation today. We still have a couple more panels coming up after this. So thank you everyone for tuning in to today's i360 program. Sorry. And see you guys again real soon. Bye bye.
Cool. Thanks, Hussein.